What's up, guys? It's your boy Zawolki back out with some more of the Chris Watts content of the murder case that he had back in 2018. Now, there's a lot of people up in the air that have stated that are on Chris's side, that he will someday get a chance to be released. I'm telling you right now, that's never going to happen. And I have the documents to prove this. We're going to see exactly to show that Chris will never see the light of day of freedom ever again. But before we go into that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel by hitting that white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that I've posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I thank you guys so very much for the continued love and support that you guys show on this channel every single day. I can't thank you guys enough. And keep doing what you guys are doing. And we'll continue to keep growing to that 100K goal that we have for this year. But with that being said, let's get into the video. If you guys are new here and have not got into the Chris Watts, obviously, the Chris Watts murders was an unfortunate event that happened back in August of 2018. And it's an overall tragic event that happened that a man could have changed the whole life that he had. But instead, he ruined his life. This man, Chris Watts, obviously we've talked about him before. He wanted to start a new life with a mistress that he had met through Anadarko. And this man annihilated his family. Not one person, not two people, not three people, but four. He doesn't just have one life sentence. He has 5 life sentences. So he has to substantially appeal to each life sentence. And this was a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And we're going to go into that documentation. But this man deserves to never see the light of freedom again. He will see those fences with barbed wire, glass in front of his family. Well, he's met his family in person. There's pictures I've seen. But he is never going to be able to go anywhere but a 5x6 jail cell and be on watch 24/7. And why do I explain this? Well, looking at this document, this is all the counts that he had received. Count 1, murder in the first degree. Count 2, murder in the first degree. Count 3, murder in the first degree. Count 4, murder in the first degree. Count 5, murder in the first degree. Number 6, unlawful termination of a pregnancy in the first degree. Count 7, tampering with a deceased body. Count 8, tampering with a deceased body. Count 9, tampering with a deceased body. He has 9 charges that were brought against him that gave him 5 life sentences. He was going to go to death penalty. He was going to have the death penalty. But the DA decided that would take too long and wanted to finish this up because he was getting ready to be elected that November. Is that substantially correct? I don't know, but that's my opinion for educational and entertainment purposes only. Now, when we explain life in prison without the possibility of parole, the sentence of a life in prison without the possibility of parole means that that individual is going to be sentenced to serve the remainder of his or her life in prison. It differs from the death penalty. It is literally the second worst thing than death penalty, because the person will not be executed, rather they will be forced to serve the person's sentence for the rest of their natural or their life without becoming eligible for parole or early release. The only way that's been there's been very, very rare instances, which is very rare. We're talking like 1 or 2, that people will be let out early. Communication is rarely granted for the person committing a violent crime, received life in prison without parole. However, some government states, or the states in the government, or the government's state, you know what I'm talking about, the state's government, the governor and the Senate and so forth like that. But governor may grant clemency if the person was very young when they committed the crime. Communicate or commutative or commutation, I butcher everything, I'm sorry, could also apply in situations including changes in the laws that result in less harsh sentences for that same crime. After exhausting all other options, a prisoner can file a writ of habeas corpus petition. Again, I'm not very good with pronunciation. I do apologize. The writ of habeas corpus challenges the conditions under which the person is serving their life sentence or their imprisonment. The only thing that Chris has been trying to do is to show that there was no evidence that was put before him to claim that he was guilty. Because he confessed. Like, he literally stated to his father, I murdered Shanann. I murdered her because of the children, which is not true. He thought he was stating that because Tammy, the one that was interviewing him and interrogating him, put that in his line of sight to kind of coerce him into speaking and coughing up some information. It worked. So then for a little bit of time, he was blaming Shanann for the daughter of the girls, which finally, again, we can't believe a word he says, but I guarantee and wholeheartedly 1,000% that Shanann never hurt those girls, because one, you saw those girls walking out of the house in the little shadows that we saw going to the truck, and two, Shanann loved those girls unconditionally, and that was like her first love. Like they were like the main squeeze besides Chris, because she did love Chris. She would do everything and anything for those girls. So throwing that out into Chris stating that Shanann did that is a lie. Chris then, after the FBI decided to go to him in prison in the Wisconsin area, had asked him some other questions and so forth, which he obliged and kind of, he's like, well, I'm here for the rest of my life. I might as well just let you guys know of certain instances in the case, which he then confessed to the murder of his girls. Again, I am in, how do you say it, tug of war between if Chris or Nicole was involved in the possibility of her helping physically. She was some way, in some shape or form, we've already talked about this before, that she was involved in the murders of said Chris Watts. Now, again, some criminal offenses carry 20 years to life. That means a person that stays in prison for the rest of their life. However, they could remain in prison for decades before the first 20 years because of the sentence for intermediate numbers of years. That is with possibility of parole. Life without the possibility of parole, which is Chris's, there's two different ones. There's one with life in prison with the possibility of parole. So after 20 to 30 to 40 years, they can file for a release for being rehabilitated, whatever have you. Chris is life in prison without the possibility of parole. So even if he's in prison, he can't ever like ask, hey, I want to get out. They're going to be like, no. The parole means that this person will die in prison. There is no chance that this person can be released. There's California statute, but I looked into it. California has the same, or Colorado has the same thing. They just don't have the death penalty anymore. So, as much as Chris thinks with good behavior, after 20 to 25 years, the man is going to be sitting in prison for the rest of his life. He has 5 life sentences. He didn't just get 1, he had 5. Or he has 5. So I just don't know where people think or get off that they keep stating in my comments or other people's videos and comments. They're like, oh, Chris has the possibility of getting out. He might come after you. Well, one, I'm not scared of Chris. I'm not scared of anybody. I'm not scared of death. Everybody is going to eventually die. Now, Chris escaped the death penalty. We've heard and found out that the Watts family, or not the Watts family, the Ruseks wanted the death penalty. We first heard that the father wanted the death penalty, then we heard that that wasn't true. Then we heard that the mother wanted the death penalty, and then we heard that wasn't true. Then we heard that both of them wanted the death penalty for Chris. But the DA Rourke decided, hey, it's going to take longer, and we want to get this over and done with and get him in prison, and we know he confessed to the murder of your family, and we need to get it done and over with. This was days. The whole confession to arrest to life in prison. The actual trial, or not trial, but the actual court was in November, luckily before his elections. And yet people are like, he's going to get out. How? This man didn't steal a Snickers bar from a Costco or from a gas station. This man murdered and annihilated his family. If he's willing to kill his family that are so close to him, what makes you think he's not going to do this to anybody else? He did this for a woman. Just think what he would do for other things. Yeah, okay, he didn't have any things happening up until that point. But once a murderer, always a murderer. I don't feel, well, in instances with children, because a lot of children, again, do not know the right from wrong. So if a child murders at 10 years old, can he be rehabilitated after that fact? I mean, that's why we don't let them drive. That's why we don't let them be with intimate predators, because one, predators are disgusting. Two, it's unlawful. A 10-year-old should not be with a 25-year-old. They can't make the decisions by themselves. It's disgusting, for one. And two, they can't make decisions for themselves. They need adults. But it's just ridiculous that I literally got a message yesterday that says you need to stop with Chris. Chris will get out and come for you. I'm going to be dead before he even, like, one, I'm not scared. Two, it's never going to happen. Like, why are the threats? Like, I'm not threatening anybody on here. Like, I've never threatened Nicole. I've just given my 2 cents, my truth, that Nicole Kessinger needs to be interrogated. Do I want harm to her? No. Do I want people to go to her house? No. I just want law enforcement, detectives, the DA, to go after her, as in criminally investigate her, criminally interrogate her, to find out guilty or not guilty. But if you're hiding, that doesn't show that you're innocent. That shows you're guilty of something. And with the Tilted Lawyer that we've been watching, which has been fantastic, you guys need to go watch his videos, which we're going to continue to watch. He has literally stated, we don't know, we can't say for certainty for 100% that she was involved 100% with, I know I keep repeating myself, that she was the one that murdered anybody. But she manipulated, she lied to federal officers, she deleted and hindered evidence, she, like, literally all these 4 things that we've seen, she's substantially able to be tried and charged for an accessory to murder. But nothing was done. Because, oh, we don't have the funds for it. Oh, we just don't feel like this is a witch hunt. A woman is gone free and living her life like it's nobody's business, enjoying the fresh breath air of where she's at, enjoying the companies of whoever she's with. She has a job. She gets to love somebody. She gets to have booty, like she Googles all the time. She gets to go get her nails done, or go get a coffee, go get to eat, go get to see her family. Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico get none of that. Because she thought she could intervene and get a married man. Maybe she didn't manipulate. Well, I'm not saying that. She manipulated Chris. Go get yourself a single man. And for those women that go out there to look for married man, you're disgusting. I'm just saying. You're destroying families. Let them divorce, let them separate, and then go after them. But this woman purposely knew. We've looked at the evidence. We've seen all the connections that Nicole knew that Shanann was pregnant. She knew the name. She's seen the girls before. She was at the house before. And yet she lied to detectives. She lied to law enforcement. And yet they're like, yeah, you're fine. We have no reason to believe that you're involved. Are you effing kidding me? Even in the DA's announcement, he stated that her deleting messages and destroying possible SIM card hindered the investigation. And hindrance is a felony. And she received no charges. But why? That is the thing. That is that's why this case continuously to live in almost infamy. It lives so strong in people's minds because, one, they can relate to Chris, as in being a father, having children like myself, having a spouse. Yet those people are smart and would never destroy their family. Yet this man had it all. He had a house. Okay, he lived paycheck to paycheck. Who doesn't nowadays? Okay? The way that the world is right now in the United States, a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck. Or we're living just to get by. But we're not murdering our families. And for those people that sit there and disgustingly blame Shanann because, oh, she was an ambitious woman and she liked to spend money, I guarantee the people that are watching, that are writing on my comments, that are bashing Shanann, are the ones that spend money themselves and have no, it's jealousy. Shanann had a lot to look forward to in the future. She was ambitious. She worked hard. She took charge. And people were threatened by that. She's gone, and yet she's still changing lives for people to be motivated, to keep driving on. I'm one of them. I am very ambitious and very motivated to, one, find this case, but also my work. When it comes to my real job or YouTube, I'm a determined individual that wants to find justice, that wants to find the evidence of paranormal, to give you guys great quality content, and to touch people for humor and enjoyable content that they can release themselves from the stress of the world. That's what Shanann was doing. She was trying to give people hope, give people a sense of health, rejuvenation, energy, weight loss. I mean, she was trying to help other people. Yeah, she's trying to earn money for her family. And then people were bashing on her because, oh, she sends her kids to daycare while she sits at home cleaning her house, which was immaculate, by the way, and then working on her work at home. And then they sit there and destroy her as being a bad mother when I don't see her being a bad mother at all. But then there's people that defend Chris. Oh, Chris, Team Chris, you're going to get out. Just have hope. Cindy Watts said, just have hope. We love you. We will get you out. He's never getting out. This man is going to rot in prison for the rest of his natural living life because of what he did, what he decided to do. I mean, obviously the rumors are there that apparently Anna Darko might have been involved, or Nicole was involved, or Jim was involved. But again, the big motive of this is Chris. The secondary motive is Nicole. Chris deserves to be right where he is, but somebody else deserves to be right next to him, and that is Nicole. No, she probably won't get life in prison, but like I said the other day, I watched the first 48. This guy brought a friend to a barber shop. They were sitting in the adjointed seats, talking with the barber that apparently owed one of the guys money. The one guy that drove that guy there, which they were friends, didn't know that man had a gun. The man that had the gun started firing on the barber. The other guy decided to run for it. Didn't say anything. Charged with first-degree murder. Didn't pull the trigger, didn't cause the murder, but he brought the murder to that location. How is that? Didn't murder the suspect. All he did was flee, but he brought the murder there, not knowing that man had a gun, that his best friend or his friend had a gun to kill the barber. And yet they both got first degree. One guy, life within prison with parole, or with the possibility of parole, which was the guy that brought the guy there. The other guy that pulled the trigger got life in prison without the possibility of parole. So this guy can possibly motion to get out. This guy will never get the chance to. Or people have said that, oh, if laws change, he can get out. What law is going to change for a man that caused quadruple homicide to get him out? What would benefit this man getting out? He has no family besides Cindy and Ronnie and his sister. He destroyed his family. It's better for him to rot in prison until he leaves this earth and rots in HE double hockey sticks. Again, I can't judge anybody. That's not my position to judge this man. That is for God to be judging him. And it says in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not commit murder. Again, I'm not trying to bring religion into this because there are people that don't have that faith. I'm not telling you that. That's just my belief. And this man committed quadruple homicide, 5 life sentences. This man will never see freedom ever. And for those that think he's going to get out someday, please debate about it in my comments. Positively, though. You can debate and still positively have a discussion without being negative and nasty towards one another. But everybody wants to be nasty anymore. But I wanted to thin the air. I've literally done 4 hours of investigation this morning on law and life sentences from watching from 5 o'clock this morning until 10. And now I'm making this video. I've looked at every single law to see if there's any loophole that this man could find to get out. And the only substantial possibility, which is still unheard of, is if Colorado decide to take away life sentences, which has never been done. Besides Massachusetts, apparently. For young kids. They want to take away life sentences for young individuals that commit murder. They want to take life sentences away for them so they can be substantially or subsequently rehabilitated and put into society. Not for a 34-year-old man that committed quadruple homicide. Just because you're good in prison, great, have at it. You should have been good when you were free. So, please comment down below if you guys agree to disagree. Hit the like button if you guys agree that this man is never going to get out by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and we will see you guys in the next video. So, please take care, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.